Today, power pain incoming. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to this post covering finance and property news. Inflation is likely to be accelerating again thanks to a whole host of price rises coming through from 1 July. Thanks, of course, also to the poor management of power in Australia as the large power producers hold households to ransom. Have you received a notification from your power company about the upcoming price rises? In some cases, the raw power price is going to be, say, 48% higher, and the supply charge is going up by maybe 50%. Formally, under decisions by energy regulators, average benchmark electricity tariffs will increase somewhere between 20 and 25% across southeast Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia, lower than originally expected due to some government intervention, but relatively weak in the process. The increases come into effect on Saturday, the start of the new financial year. But averages mask, and some Australian households are facing power bill hikes of up to 100% as the long tail of last year's energy crisis hits home hard, according to consumer advocates. Joel Gibson from consumer group Big One Switch said that while the headline numbers were bad enough, many customers whose deals were expiring faced much worse. Gibson said that there were reports some households' power prices were set to double as cheaper offers lapsed and the huge costs incurred last year finally washed through. What we're about to see is probably an average 25% power price hike right across the eastern and southern states of Australia, Mr. Gibson said. And in fact, in some cases, people are getting much, much higher increases, 50, 80, or even 100% in some cases. Unfortunately, this is the long tail of the chaos in the wholesale market that we saw last year. Record fuel prices helped propel electricity markets to unprecedented levels last year, at one stage prompting authorities to suspend normal operations to stop things from spiralling out of control. And Gibson said the bill for the turmoil was now being paid, but it was coming at the worst possible time for many households who were already grappling with rocketing costs of living. He said $3 billion of combined assistance from state and federal governments would help to ease the pain for many consumers, although it did not shield everybody. I think it's going to hit particularly hard those households who don't necessarily have access to concession cards or other rebates, that don't necessarily qualify but aren't necessarily high-income households, he said. So it's middle Australians that are going to get hit hardest by all of these increases because they may not qualify for any of those extra rebates or assistance that's coming, and yet they're going to get probably a $500 to $1,000 increase in their energy costs at a time when their insurance premiums are rising, their mortgage rates are going up, or their rents are rising. So it's this cumulative impact, this perfect storm of price rises across the board that's going to make it very, very hard for medium income families over the next 6 to 12 months. Energy producers have acknowledged that some consumers will be hit with outsized price rises, but pointed to the benchmark increases as the best gauge of the market. Sarah McNamara, the chief executive of industry lobby group the Australian Energy Council, said the size of a customer's price increase will depend on the type of deal that was expiring. For those on historic deals, she said that it was likely to be tougher given the extent to which wholesale electricity costs had risen in the meantime. And she pointed out that as many as 8 individual energy retailers had gone to the wall since March last year, significantly reducing the amount of competition in the market. And that's really disappointing for their customers and for the employees and for the market generally, although I will say they were in the main smaller retailers, she said. But what that is evidence of is the financial pressures that all retailers across the market are operating under. And what that does mean is it's getting harder for retailers to offer really super cheap deals that customers might have enjoyed 2 or 3 years ago. Despite this, Ms. McNamara urged consumers to shop around for the best offer, explaining that the exit of some retailers doesn't mean there aren't any good deals out there at the moment. And what we think is really important in an environment of rising prices is households and small businesses are making sure they're on the best deal for their circumstances, she said. And the easiest way to do that is to ring your retailer and just ask. Mr. Gibson agreed, saying customers could be costing themselves hundreds of dollars per billing cycle by failing to haggle or switch providers. It's fair to say it's never been more important that people are prepared to switch providers and plans in the States where they can than at the moment, Mr. Gibson said. We haven't seen this sort of cumulative price rise 2 years in a row ever in living memory. And some people, frankly, if they don't switch plans and providers, are going to pay $1,000 more than they have to next year for their energy bills. So 3 quick points on this. Firstly, this is a very significant impost on households that in some cases are already under the gun, as I was spoken about previously. Secondly, the government policy is partly to blame here because it's the wholesalers, not the retailers, that actually set the price. And of course, the price of energy in Australia is set at the marginal price of gas, and gas, which of course is being liquefied in Australia and then exported. So effectively, Australians are exposed to the full price of the international markets. And thirdly, the truth is that the government has been very slow to really respond. In fact, if you go back and look at the shows on my channel a year or two ago, we were talking about this then and warning of the impending problems that were arising. But of course, the government doesn't want to upset business. And the truth is that it's the big international producers, particularly of gas, that are actually the root cause creator of the problem. The retailers are caught in the middle, and I agree, some retailers have fallen over. But the bottom line is this: you need to shop around, you need to understand what your current price is going to be, because of course if you can find a cheaper deal somewhere else, then you can certainly save quite a lot of money. This is an impost that we can absolutely do without. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.